About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's be free with me. Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts. Be free.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you on the screen some key terms, and what you need to do is match them with the relevant definition or the formula. It always helps, doesn't it, to actually have your mic muted. It helps with these sessions. Unmuted, of course. There we go. Those are the 6 A to F. And on the right hand side, we have got 6 possible formulae or definitions, and what you need to do is to match them. Use the chat window if you want to have a go. You don't have to do all 6 at the same time, so you might think that B is matched with number 4, say. I don't know whether it is or not. We'll find out soon. I'm going to give you a minute, and in the meantime I'll play some a festive beat to help you along. So have a go.
Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times, we'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. And I can't...
I knew that cookie would appear at the end there to signal that 60 seconds is up. 60 seconds isn't a long time, so maybe you got a chance to match maybe a few of the terms on the left and the definitions or the formulae on the right hand side. So if you've been watching on replay, for example, maybe compare what you've got with the right answers. So let's take a look at the answers. Here we go. Now we're going to be referring to these concepts during this session because these are all important profitability concepts. Gross profit margin, that's gross profit divided by sales turnover, expressed as a percentage of sales turnover. So gross profit divided by sales turnover times by 100. We always show margins as percentages. Gross profit sounds very similar, but of course it's the bit without the percentage. It's the calculation, sales turnover less cost of sales. So that would be expressed in terms of pounds, in terms of value. Markup is a percentage. Markup shows the gross profit we achieve as a percentage of cost of sales. It's similar to gross profit margin, but we use a slightly different percentage calculation, don't we? It's gross profit divided by cost of sales. Return on capital employed is sometimes shortened to, in fact, you should, in the exam, you should shorten it to ROCE or ROCE, and that is another percentage. It's profit as a percentage of capital employed. And the last two there, I just put them in just to make sure we had 6. Cost of sales. This is sales turnover less gross profit. You need to know the formula. So sometimes you might need to manipulate the formula to get back to cost of sales. And we'll have a look at this as we go through the session. Finally, sales turnover. If we remember what that is, it's the value, and the value of the sales is achieved by multiplying the quantity sold, the amount we sold in units, by the selling price per unit. You may remember the selling price per unit from your studies of break-even analysis, and it comes in really handy when you're thinking about profitability ratios as well. Hopefully you did well on that. So if you're with us in the live chat, don't be shy. Have a go at typing your answers into the live chat. You can't be wrong. All you're doing is having a go. Excellent. So as we go through the session, we'll just keep reminding you of one or two key points for Unit 3. And I think that one of the key points to remember, it's not just about calculations. When we're thinking about profitability, we also need to have an understanding of what these different measures mean, what these ratios mean, what these terms mean, because we may need to interpret some data. It's not just about calculating them. And we'll see that as we go through the rest of today's activities. Right, okay, we've got a true-false activity now. So this one's really easy. You've got a 50% chance of getting it right, but I think you'll do a lot better than that. We've got some true-false questions or statements. All you need to do in the live chat, if you're with us live, is to type true or T or F for false based on these statements. We've got a few of these to look at. Here's the first one. Do you think this is true or false? An increase in the gross profit of a business will always mean a higher profit margin. True or false? Give you 10-15 seconds to have a think about that. An increase in the gross profit of a business will always mean a higher profit margin. And what do you think, true or false? Oh, Ali, straight into the live chat. You're the first into the live chat for this question with false. Let's see the other answers coming in. Stefan's going false as well. Stefan, you were second. See if you can beat Ali into the live chat next time. A few more coming through. Shall we have a look at the answer? Well, the good news is, no surprise there. Ali and Stefan are spot on. It's false. Now, of course, an increase in the gross profit margin might improve or increase the profit margin, but that would depend on whether expenses didn't increase by as much. So if, for example, the gross profit of a business increases by £100,000, however, the expenses of the business increase by £200,000, the profit margin will fall. So it's not always the case that gross profit will increase the profit margin. Let's have a look at the next one. These aren't easy, so take your time with them. An increase in the profit margin of a business would mean a higher return on capital employed if sales turnover and capital employed remained the same. So if we think about the formula that we've just gone through on return on capital employed, would that be true or would that be false? If you remember the formula, I'll give you the formula. It's profit divided by capital employed. So would an increase in the profit margin mean a higher return on capital employed if sales turnover and capital employed remained the same? And Husseini and Ali are both in saying true. Any more? Yeah, any more? Don't be shy. Stefan's gone true as well, and more people are coming through with true. This is very encouraging. Well done. The answer is indeed true. Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Don't forget the formula is profit divided by capital employed. Well, clearly, if capital employed remain the same, then we just need to make sure the bit on the top is higher. And yes, it will be, won't it? The profit margin is profit divided by sales turnover. So that's true. Good, good. And Alicia, well done too. You got it right as well. In fact, you all got it right. So have a go at this one. A business can improve its return on capital employed by increasing its gross profit margin, provided that expenses do not change. So this is quite a tough one, this. So take your time on this. This really tests whether we can think about how gross profit works and how it affects profit. A business can improve its return on capital employed by increasing the gross profit margin, provided expenses do not change. And the answer to this one is, yeah, it's true. Yeah, if you improve the gross profit margin, that means you're making more gross profit. Yeah, more gross profit. If expenses don't change, that means that your profit will improve. Therefore, your return on capital will also improve. Yes, it can do. It can improve it. Now, I said we've got a few calculations to do in this session. We've actually got, I think, 3 or 4 of them, but they're quick fire. And here's the first one. In fact, I think we've got 3. So with all of these things, I'm going to give you 60 seconds. And because you're doing so well and so strong, I'm going to give you an extra time. I'm going to give you a whole minute. There's some information on the screen there. And when I start the countdown clock, you've got a calculation to do. Now, in this case, actually, 2 little calculations. So last year, a business had revenue of, or sales turnover, another term for revenue, of £400,000 of sales. And they achieved a gross profit margin of 40%. Now, just using that information, give me 2 numbers, please. The gross profit for last year and the cost of sales. Okay, over to you. It's amazing how quickly 60 seconds goes, isn't it? And but the good news is we've had some answers into the live chat which are correct. Well done. I think Stefan was first this time. Minecraft, Enjoy Watching, which is a great name for these sessions, and Ali are also in with correct answers. So well done. Well done. Let's just go through the answers and the workings. Don't worry if you've not typed it into the live chat. I'm sure you've had a go. And of course, if you're doing it on replay, you might have given yourself a bit more time as well. So we were asked for 2 numbers. The gross profit. Well, the gross profit is simply the gross profit margin, 40%, times by the revenue or the sales turnover. So 40% of 400,000, 160,000. Now, the cost of sales is the difference between sales revenue and gross profit, or you could just use 60% of revenue, couldn't you? Because if the gross profit margin is 40%, that must mean that the cost of sales were 60% of revenue. But however you calculated it, well done, 160,000 and 240. So we're flying here. This is very encouraging, this. Good news for those getting ready for Unit 3. Okay, excellent. Now, just a bit of exam gold. What we recommend that you do is with all calculations in Unit 3, you just take the time to write down the formula for each calculation question. Okay, so you do get a mark for a correct formula, even if for whatever reason, maybe you make a slight error with your calculator or you don't quite pick up the right number. If your final answer is wrong, don't worry about it. You'll still get a mark. So you pick up the easy marks as you go. Of course, you have to memorize those formula. But there aren't too many of them, and once you practice them, you soon get used to them. What you then do is that really helps you, because if you've got the formula, all you do is you then just substitute the numbers you're given into your formula, and you'll work out what the missing number is, usually. And then finally, don't forget just to make sure you use the appropriate units. Is it just like physics, I'm told? Well, if it's good enough for physics, it's good enough for us, or vice versa. Don't forget to always check that the units are right. So, for example, if you're dealing, we're not dealing this today, but break-even analysis, we would always mention the unit at the end. If it was a margin, like gross profit margin or profit margin or return on capital employed, we need to make sure we include a percentage sign, because it is a percentage is the measure. So, step by step, write the formula down, substitute the numbers in, and then make sure your answer has the correct units. How do you fancy another festive activity? You can type yes if you wish into the live chat. Not that we've got a choice, because this one has had a festive makeover. If you've been to any of our live streams before for BTEC and other subjects, you may have come across Minecraft in particular. I recognise you. You may have come across the bubble quiz. Well, this is the bauble quiz. You get the idea. Here is a question, and let's put the first question, shall we, on the screen. But the thing about this quiz is there could be more than one correct answer, or there could be none. So it's either 1, 2, 3, 4, or none which are correct. So all you need to do in the chat is to type in the letters that you think are correct. So, for example, type in A and C if you think it's just two of them. First question, and which of these are profitability ratios? Which of these are in the Unit 3 spec, the specification that you need to know about in terms of profitability? Type them in. Don't worry, you can have as many goes as you want, by the way, to give yourself an even better chance of getting it right. I'm not sure how many combinations there are of those four letters, but type them all in. Stefan's gone for A and C. Minecraft gone for something different, A, C, and D. And yeah, Alicia's also gone for A, C, and D. Ali's gone for A and B. So we have a mixture of those who are brave enough to type into the live chat. What have you done if you're watching on replay? Should we have a look at the answer? It is, how'd you like that? Yeah, I put a little star next to the baubles, which are correct. It is A, C, and D on this occasion. We are talking profitability ratios, so gross profit margin, markup, and return on capital employed. We mentioned those earlier. You need to know about those. Current ratio is not a profitability ratio, it is a liquidity ratio. And would you believe it? Would you believe it? We are doing a liquidity session tomorrow. So I would guess that the current ratio would appear in that session. In fact, I'm hoping it will, because if it isn't, it won't be a very good session. Here's our next one, our next bauble quiz. Gets a bit harder now. Which of these would increase the gross profit margin of a business? Now, remember what the gross profit margin is. Gross profit divided by sales turnover. So which of those? Obviously, all other things being equal, which of these would increase the gross profit margin? Is it A? Could it also be B or C or D, or none of them? Or all of them? What do you think? Okay, most people are saying A, but not necessarily listed in the live chat here along with the same letters. So we've got a variety of answers: A, B, D, A, B, A, D, A, B again. Looks like most people, I would say half of our live audience, are going for A, B, but not all of them. Let's have a look. And the good news is, if you wrote down, somebody's written BAD. I don't know whether that's a comment on this session or whether it's the three things you think are correct. But anyway, it is A and B. So a higher selling price per unit, that would increase the amount of gross profit you sell for each unit, don't we? We also know that that would also help reduce the break-even output, if you think back to break-even. A lower variable cost per unit has the same effect, doesn't it? It means you're making more gross profit per unit, per pound of sales. Higher inventory turnover, that's nothing to do with margins, profitability, that's liquidity. Lower markup, no, well that would worsen the gross profit, wouldn't it? If we use a lower markup percentage, that means we make less profit on each item that we that's fine. That's fine. I take the comment about the BAD. It was a response to the question. Superb stuff. Okay, I think we've got one more of these. Yes, we have. A business wants to increase its return on capital employed. Which of these would help it achieve the aim? I'm going to go quiet for 10 seconds whilst you read the 4 options and decide which of those are correct, if any. Silence is golden, isn't it? A business wants to increase its return on capital employed. Which of those would help it achieve an increase in that percentage, that measure of profitability? This is a hard one. In fact, I don't think any of these are easy, so take your time. If we think about what the formula is, it's profit divided by capital employed. So, yeah. Well, now it's interesting. The answers coming into the live chat are all saying definitely A. In fact, most people are now saying A and B. Could it be A and B again? Surely not. Let's have a look. It is A and B. So well done, Ali. Well done, Stefan. Alicia again, and lots of others. Yeah, so if you just remember the formula, it's profit divided by capital employed. So if we reduce the capital employed on the bottom bit of the percentage or fraction, that's going to help, isn't it? That's going to increase the percentage. And similarly, if we increase the top bit, the net profit margin, if we make more profit and the capital employed stays the same, then that will also improve our return on capital employed. The other two don't. Excellent, well done. Now we've got a couple more calculations to come up now. So let's get our calculators out again. And this one is on markup. Now, I'm not going to give you some help on this. What I'd normally do at this stage is explain what markup is, but I think you guys are on fire anyway. So I'm going to let you have a go, and then we'll go through the answer. So the financial information in the table there shows information from 2 independent pizza shops for last year. Which shop had the higher markup? The markup, don't forget, markup is a percentage. So which shop had the higher markup? Over to you. Don't forget to have a go. If you want to type your answer into the live chat, that's cool. If you just want to work it out and wait for the answer, that is also cool. And there we go, another minute has passed. Now don't forget, markup is, this is where the idea of writing your formula down first and then substituting the numbers is such a good idea. Not only to get a mark for it, but it also helps you get the right answer. 1 or 2 answers coming to the live chat, but not many, which makes me think that markup isn't necessarily something that everybody is on top of just yet. I'm sure you will be by the time of the exam. Don't forget, markup is... I should say gross profit divided by cost of sales. There's an error on the slide there. I'll update that for the download. So we take gross profit and divide it by cost of sales, and it gives us a feel for how much extra profit we're looking to make on what we make or sell, the cost of what we make or sell. And if you work through the numbers, shop B has the highest markup percentage of 163.2%. Don't forget, markup is a percentage. Therefore, express your answer as a percentage. Excellent. Right, last calculation, I promise. And this one is on return on capital employed. We've done gross profit margin. We've done markup. Let's do return on capital employed. This is, I think, a little bit simpler. So, but you've still got a minute. or 60 seconds if you want a shorter amount of time. So the information there is on the right hand side, and we're told the capital employed for the business was £2 million. What was the return on capital employed? Let's get some answers into the live chat on this one, Team Business. Here we go. It's always 60 seconds. It's always the same music. And G in the live chat has said, no music, please. Crying or laughing emoji. Well, the music adds to the suspense, doesn't it? And who knows, it could well be in the exam officer or invigilator decides to play that music every time someone does a calculation. Who knows? So we might as well get used to it. But hopefully not. Anyway, Minecraft and Stefan were the first into the live chat with an answer. And no surprise, given their past performance, they are correct. The answer is 6.3%. So if you didn't type that into live chat, if you watch on replay, did you get that? Don't forget it's the classic formula, isn't it? It's profit divided by capital employed. Don't forget, times by 100. We were told the capital employed is 2 million. So we just divide one by the other. Not gross profit. Return on capital employed is the profit. That's gross profit after all the expenses. I know what you mean, G, about not being able to think with it on. I suppose there is always an option for you to mute this playback as we do the calculations. For others, it may well inspire them to do calculations in time, but we appreciate you having a go. Superb stuff. We're going to finish now with a little activity. We're bang on time here. It's a little bit of fun, but based on real data. We are going to go back to gross profit margin, and we're going to play the higher or lower game. And this is really easy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a gross profit margin from the latest financial information. I've been into all of these businesses to get their latest gross profit margin. And all I need you to do is to decide whether the next business is higher or lower. Well, there's our starting business. It's Apple. Apple, in its most recent financial information, reported a gross profit margin, that's gross profit divided by sales turnover, of 42.2%. Now, over to you. Was the gross profit margin of Tesco, most recently, higher or lower than Apple? Was it higher or lower than 42.2? So again, type it into the live chat if you're with us live. Let's get a few answers in. No prizes for this, just a bit of fun. G's gone lower. What do we think? Tesco, the gross profit margin. If you think about their sales and maybe how much markup they add to their products, but also how competitive the market is. Okay, Ali's gone lower. And is saying he's gone lower. Minecraft, though, ever one to be slightly controversial, has gone higher. What do we think it is then? Those of you who say lower, what type of percentage into live chat? What do you think it might be if you think it's lower? Or, and for Minecraft, our user here, type it in. What do you think? If it's higher, what do you think it is? Let's see who's nearest. Give you 5 seconds to have a guess. Type it into the chat. If you watch on replay, write it down. What do you think the gross profit margin of Tesco's is? 23.4%, someone suggesting. Any more guesses? What do we think? Should we have a look at the answer? I think we will. The answer is, it is much lower, 6.7%. Supermarkets have very low gross profit margins, actually. They are operating in a very price competitive market. They have to compete with everyday low prices. So I'm told. Not that I do much shopping at Tesco's. Now, the next one. I think Alicia was closest there when he said 10ish. Well, 6.7% is 10ish, isn't it? Here's the next one, Gymshark. Now, those of you like me who are gym bunnies will know the Gymshark brand. Do we think the gross profit margin of Gymshark is higher or lower than Tesco's? What do we think? And if you think it's lower or higher, type in the answer. Give me a percentage. What do we think? Gymshark. Someone's gone 3.2, 2.4. But Ali reckons it's higher with 3 R's, which I presume means very much higher. And shall we have a look? Anna's saying he's gone higher, 15%. Alicia says higher. Minecraft, just copying off the rest, is going higher. Stefan saying lower. Let's have a look. Gymshark's gross margin, very similar to Apple, 43%. 43%. 2 more to go. Coca-Cola now. What about Coca-Cola? This is the gross profit margin they make on their global sales. This is the entire business. So every can of Coke and all their other brands. What is their average gross profit margin on all of their sales, all of their profits around the world? We've got a difference of opinion here, as you might expect, given that Gymshark was 43%, which is sort of in the middle, isn't it? But most people seem to be saying lower. Okay. Let's have a look. It is 61.1%. A phenomenal gross profit margin. I suppose you might argue that it only has really one competitor, doesn't it? PepsiCo. Therefore, it can charge whatever it wants in terms of a selling price. And obviously, the other thing is it also benefits from massive economies of scale. It's a very efficient business. So, yeah, we go. Every can of Coke that you consume has 61% margin in it, along with a few other things. And our last one is Facebook, otherwise now known as Meta. I don't know whether you noticed, but Facebook changed its name to Meta, the business that owns Facebook and Insta and all the rest of the stuff it owns. But what is the gross profit margin of Facebook? Higher or lower than Coca-Cola? What do we think? Last one in this session, and then we are done. So have a go. Alicia's gone higher, as has Anasani. Both gone higher there. Alicia's gone lower. We've had someone guess 83%, which means the highest. Minecraft has gone higher. Shall we have a look at the answer? It may amaze you that Facebook's gross profit margin is 80.6%. 80.6%. A very, very profitable business, not just in terms of gross profit margin, but also in terms of profit. There we go. And I suppose you might argue that's to be expected, because they're selling a service, aren't they? They're not actually producing anything and bottling it or putting it into a can or producing some garments or selling baked beans. But 80.6% is Facebook's gross profit margin. Now, if all of you got all 4 of those right, that is pretty impressive. But I just thought a nice little fun activity. To finish off with, I keep checking that I've forgotten to unmute my mic when I come back to the camera. Okay, there we go. Hopefully you found that useful. So, we're back again for the next session. I think it's tomorrow afternoon, isn't it? We're doing two each week, this week and next week, and then we're back again after Christmas with lots more Unit 2 and Unit 3 and Unit 6 live streams in the first week or two of January to help you get ready for those exams. So whichever units you're taking, hopefully these will be useful for you. If you found it useful, if you found it helpful, give us a thumbs up. That's you, the live chat audience, as well as anyone watching on replay or catch up. And it's been great. I've been very impressed by the answers you've put into the live chat window. So I might make the questions in tomorrow's session just a teeny weeny bit harder. But hopefully we'll still have a bit more fun, and I'll try to include some more festive activities as well. But for now, from me here at TutorTube, all the best. Have a good evening, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.